I'll mention as I do why we're doing this series. This is the 7th of 8 episodes or sessions focused on, for Roanoke artists. It's very conversational and casual, and we're building toward a call that we're putting out hopefully at the end of the month, early next month, for our temporary art exhibit on the Elmwood Art Walk. And the Arts Commission is very serious about wanting to provide opportunities for local artists and to help local artists step up to be able to be part of a team that's doing a public art project that is in our city. We just think that that's a cool thing, and we want to celebrate all of the talent around us. So we thought as part of that, we would do this series, and it would help us have a stronger network of artists, provide more opportunities for artists, have more successful calls where when we put a call out, local artists do respond. And as part of that, we've been really surprised. We've been working on the call as we've been doing these conversations, and our call has changed dramatically based in the conversations with the artists in these sessions. And we're really happy about that because we feel that, it's the city's public art program. And that means all of us together contribute to it and can create it together. So creating these shared goals around art is really important to us. And we think we're gonna come up with some new strategies and at least try some things out based in this. And as I said, this is the 7th of 8, and next week we'll run through how we imagine that call to play out. So, and we'll put that out, and we'll probably have some additional artists pop on for this. I have heard from some people who watched the recordings. We've got all of these posted on our website, and we've been pushing some of them out on social media as well.
Oh, okay.
But it's fun because we've been having really good casual conversations, and it's not formal at all, very informal. And this, I tell you, and I've told this to the committee and the commission as well, we are doing this as much for us, because as we talk about the program and what we want to do in the program, we better understand it as the Arts Commission. And the Arts Commission, again, is 15 volunteer members who have other volunteer commitments, and they have full-time jobs, and they have families, and we're still in the middle of this COVID thing that's just putting so much pressure on everybody. But this is one way for us to start to talk about it and help ourselves even better understand it. So I do want to run through the room and talk about who's here. We do have 2 guests tonight, and Toni Thomas I've worked with in the year that I've been there. I came in, and one of the first things we had to do was this 811 911 call for Blue Hills Communication Center. And it was a sculpture that we put out. We dedicated it this summer. We put the call out. We interviewed artists, and Toni really helped me through the process, helped me understand what we needed to do and how we needed to do it. And we had a panel, and we've talked in past sessions about how the panels work and how people can volunteer to be on a panel, and citizens are on panels. And Toni helped really guide the panel, and we had fantastic submissions. We had 3 good artists we narrowed it down to, and then we selected the artist David Sheldon, who presented in one of these sessions as well. And Toni has experience in purchasing not only with the city of Roanoke, and she was at the city a while ago, and then she went and got private sector experience, and came back to the city. And we're really happy that she's here in the city. I enjoy working with her, and was really pleased when she said she'd participate tonight. And then Jackie.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And Jackie Clewis is our manager of risk management. And I don't think I've even gotten to meet you in person yet, Jackie. We do a lot of emailing. When I ask questions like, what's a COI? Things like that, very, very basic questions. And Jackie's helping us out. And risk is a big part of what we need to think about when we put art in the public sphere. Right. And Jackie is, let me just say that she's vice president of the Virginia Public Risk Management Association, And in 2019, she was the state's risk manager of the year. So
Oh,
we've
okay.
Thank
yeah,
you.
we've got some real, we've got some real expertise here to draw on.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing. And I'll say it before we find out who else is here with us. Um, I've said it before. I've been so impressed working in the city of Roanoke with the professionalism and the spirit. Really a can-do spirit and customer service. Just a real friendly place. It has really impressed me, and I've said that before in front of council, and totally believe it, and have been really happy so far. Um, and then let me let go of this, and I want to. First, I'll start with Jane. And Jane, you're muted. You'll have to unmute and tell us who you are.
My name is Jane Gabrielle. I am a visual and performing artist, and I am I can't talk tonight. Currently pursuing my degree at Goddard College for socially engaged art, which is really exciting.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Jane.
And you also have a title. Since I was talking to Ms. McCadden this week, you also have a title of artist in residence for Melrose Rugby.
Yes, Estelle, Ms. McCadden announced that to me just a few days ago.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah.
I think
Well, we were on the phone with her about a project, and she said, "Well, we have an artist in residence," and I said, "Oh, I know Jane." Oh, so we're hoping to get a little project with Parks and Recreation happening, a little mural there in Melrose Rugby. So
that's exciting.
I bet we'll be talking.
I'm so excited for that to happen, and of course, whatever artist you want to do that, but I'm sort of Estelle's personal artist. Like, when she needs something done, I go do it. She snaps, and I go, yes, ma'am. You all know Miss McCann, don't you?
Yes. We do.
Yes.
And we're excited about that project. It's going to be a small project. We're just getting on the very beginning of talking about it, but Parks and Recreation has a little bit of money that we can paint a mural where there's been some graffiti on the Greenway there on Lick Run Greenway at Brown Robertson Park. And we're hoping as the Arts Commission to say to the neighborhood, hey neighborhood, we're going to put this in your hands and you're going to drive this project. All we're going to do is approve it, provide you some support, and help you accomplish some of your neighborhood goals with it. And so we're really excited about it, and the work you're doing, Jane, in your socially conscious art. What's the name of the program again?
Socially engaged art.
Socially engaged art is a great thing.
Is that the wall you're talking about?
That looks like it could be it.
Can't see it. Really.
I'll say it is, but we have some other pictures, and we'll be talking about it. But and then let's go to Ms. Phyllis. Tell us about you.
Did you say Phyllis?
Yes.
Oh, nothing to tell. I'm here just to gain experience and all the knowledge that I can. This is so new to me. I told you I came about it on Facebook and it looked interesting. And I saw some of the work that had been done around Roanoke, fell in love with it. So I said, I've got to get in touch with this group.
Mhm.
And you just mentioned a park a few minutes ago. Where is that park?
It's well, you know where Washington Park is?
Yes.
So Washington Park, the Greenway runs through it, and there's an extension off of Washington Park that connects. It runs next to Melrose Rugby, but it runs to Target. It's called Lick Run Greenway, and it goes all the way there to Target. It even crosses the 581 bridge. But there's a beautiful little park there.
I didn't know that.
Is that the
Yeah.
park near where Huff Lane used to be?
Where near what?
Is that going through where Huff Lane used to be?
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah. You know where the Park is, you know, where Washington Park is, right? The,
Right.
where the picnic areas are.
On top.
So the Greenway kind of starts, there's a path that goes all the way down and across 10th Street, all the way back towards 581, and then it
I don't
crosses
know that.
over 581.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
try that one.
I'm with you.
Yeah, it's a really nice bike path. I like riding back there.
Oh,
It is,
okay.
especially in the summer. It's nice and woodsy and cool, and with the trees.
Mhm.
Oh,
Okay.
And they not too long ago, you know, they redid that. It used to cross, you had to cross 10th Street, but now there's a tunnel that goes under 10th Street. They're right along the creek, and it's really pretty. But they've
Mhm.
had a lot of trouble with vandalism or graffiti
Mhm.
in that cycle. So and the bridge is pretty new.
Okay.
Yeah.
there's a tunnel on the 10th Street.
Yeah, I guess yeah, it feels like a tunnel when you're in it on so the road
I
goes.
didn't know. Where is it? You can actually just go down in there.
Oh yeah, it's just it's like a bridge. It's basically a bridge, but you don't feel like you're on a bridge that much when you're driving, but it goes over a creek, and the Greenway runs right along that creek, or Lick runs. Yeah.
Okay. There's a
So,
lot of places I need to learn about.
Yeah.
yeah, well, we all got more exploring of the city to do.
Yeah.
And with that, you know, I feel like let's just start with Toni. And I asked Toni to think about, you know, what we need to know about contracting with the city. And you know, it feels like a big mysterious process if you're not in it. And I throw around words like RFP, and in the last session, I think it was you, Phyllis. You said, "Now, what's that? What's a RFP?" So we need to do a little bit of demystifying around the process. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, everything that we generally do in the procurement division, it stems from some type of solicitation. So that's where you hear the things like RFP and ITB. An RFP is the request for proposal, which is generally the procurement type that we
Oh,
use
okay.
when soliciting proposals for art projects. So RFP stands for request for proposal. And when Douglas comes to me and he says, hey, we have a new project, we need to get it out to our artists and get some proposals in, we generally will issue a unsealed request for proposal. And when I say unsealed, that means we know that it's going to be under $100,000 for any budget that we may put out. So I will work with Douglas to issue a request for proposal to the street. That request for proposal would include the expectations of the art project and the sample contract that would be expected to sign once we chose a successful artist for any given project. Once that RFP is put together, it's issued, and we have a couple of ways that we issue that solicitation. We post it on our website at www.roanoke.va.gov/purchasing. That's where we post all of our solicitations. We also sometimes advertise in the paper, and we advertise on our VSS site, which can also be found at www.roanokeva.gov. So any solicitation that we ever issue is posted there for your review at any time. We also directly solicit. So if we know of you or you've responded to past solicitations, we will pull that information out of our archive and we will directly solicit you by sending an email with a personal invite. We also do things that way. Once that's on the street, we put it out for a certain amount of time. Usually it's upwards of 20 days or so. And once that's broken out, we go through a process, an evaluation process with the panel. As Douglas mentioned a little earlier, there's a pre-selected panel, which generally includes city officials, city employees, as well as some artists and private citizens as well. And we evaluate every proposal that comes in accordance with the RFP that we issue. We conduct interviews to bring those artists in and to get a little bit more information about what they do and how they do it. Sometimes reading it on paper is great, but it gives you a different aspect if you bring those folks in and you have a conversation with them and you talk to them about their art and why they chose certain pieces. Based on how the evaluations go, that committee will vote on the evaluations and the presentations, and we'll make a decision as a group who we want to move forward with or who we want to award a contract with. And then we proceed to negotiate a contract similar to the one issued with the solicitation for execution. So it sounds like a lot, but it flows very well. And we are the city, we're local government, so we have to dot our I's and cross our T's.
What kind of questions do you get from folks with the contract? Because sometimes they get the contract, and they go, "Wow, this is a lot. This is a lot."
Yes, it is a lot. Our contracts tend to be overwhelming, especially for small companies. But the questions we normally receive are relative to insurance. Those are always the big questions with our contracts. But if it's not stemming around insurance, it's generally about the payment clause or the term of the agreement. Those are the hot topics.
Hi, Ms. Thomas. I'm
Yes,
a little bit
ma'am.
confused about something. Would I know about what's going on through the website? Will I be getting emails? Because who would be coming to you for contracts? I'm sure you said it, but it's just all over my head because all of this is so new.
Well, I didn't actually. So if we
individual
take it a step all the way back before we issue these solicitations, on our website we have a vendor self-service system. With that vendor self-service system, it allows you as a company or as an individual to register your company with the city of Roanoke. So you can go there.
Have to be a company?
No, it can be an individual. We do issue contracts to individuals.
Okay.
So
If you are an individual, you will need to be registered with the city of Roanoke to do business. So you have to have hold a business license.
Oh.
this is a random. Go ahead.
That's it. And we have had instances where people from out of town may want to contract with us. We've been able to negotiate certain things with regards to that business license if you're not living in the state and regularly doing business in the state.
About how many folks do you have registered? I mean, I know it's because it's a big organization. It takes a lot to run a city. How many? You know how many vendors?
I do not know off the top of my head because we have so many different avenues. We have the people that are actually registered through our DSS system, and then we actually have the people who we actually wrote a check to. There's thousands. It's a lot.
Yeah. Well, terrific. All right then, and there was a little bit of a handoff there. Did you hear her say? Is there a question about it?
So to take it off kind of where Toni left off, talk about insurance. We do get a lot of questions about insurance and why insurance is necessary in contracting. One of the reasons that insurance is so important is because the city is self-insured. That means that the city does not purchase insurance for liability. Now, if the city chooses to assume risk of liability on behalf of a contractor or a person, they can do that. But we have to jump through a whole lot of hoops to be able to do that. So normally we don't assume the risk of a third party. And we ask if you're going to contract with the city that you have your own general liability insurance. In the case of artists, normally what we're looking for is that you're going to have some type of property coverage to cover your property when it's in the possession of the city. Okay. Jane, you got a question? You look, you got it. There you go.
That was a light bulb. I was like, oh.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a question about that.
I'm taking notes, and I was just like, I just like, oh, I get it. Okay. Thank you.
So that's just one of the major questions we get is why, is the insurance necessary? The other questions we get is what is a COI? What does that mean? And that's a certificate of insurance. Sometimes insurance companies will issue a certificate of insurance and they will only say this is evidence of insurance. Well, evidence of insurance is not good enough for our purposes. We need that certificate of insurance to include certain things. Number one, it needs to show you as the vendor or artist as the insured, okay? It needs to show what type of insurance coverage you have, how much insurance you have, the effective dates of your policy. It needs to also show some additional insured insurance status that will protect the city under that contract. And it needs to list the city as the certificate holder. Okay.
And we generally include those requirements in our solicitation. So within
Right,
embedded within our RSP, it'll be a separate section dedicated just to insurance, and it'll show you exactly what we need for you to submit in order to execute a contract with the city. Correct.
And based on your project, when I look at a contract, I'm looking at the scope of work, what is required of the contractor, what work you will be performing, where you will be performing that work, whether it be on city property or not. So when I'm reviewing the contract, that's going to give me a lot of information as to what your project is. It's going to help me make a determination as to what the insurance requirements really need to be. Okay. Sometimes I may only require general liability insurance. I may require general liability along with auto insurance. If you're going to be on city property, you got to get there somewhere, somehow, unless you're walking, Sometimes we require workers' compensation coverage, just depends. In the state of Virginia, it's not really necessary if you have less than three employees or less. You're not required to even carry workers' comp insurance. But that's just one of those things I look for. Okay. What else we can think about for insurance? When you're communicating with your insurance agent, you say, look, the city, I'm trying to contract the city. They're asking me to provide a certificate of insurance. Again, you want to tell them what your event is, where it's going to be, how many people you expect to be there, and how long the event is supposed to last, because you want to make sure you have coverage to cover your setup period, your event, and your tear down time. Okay. So, and
I have
that's
a question.
okay.
The insurance you're talking about for an event, when you talk about getting, wait a minute, certificate of insurance, is that a lasting thing, or do you have to get one every time you have an event? Not every time. Say if I'm at an event for one time only, can you get insurance as such?
You can, and they have insurance just for that, and it's called event insurance. You can purchase
Okay.
that separately.
For that one day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
Yes, ma'am. And an event insurer is going to ask you those same questions. They're going to ask you about your event, where you're going to have it, and how many people you plan to attend your event, you know, and they're going to base the premium costs on those questions and how you answer those questions. Okay. The reason you want to have that insurance if you're having an event is in case something happens. Let's say if something happens to your art at this event, you want to make sure it's covered. Let's say that there's an accident, your art is knocked over somehow and it may hit somebody and injure somebody. The event insurance will cover that as well. Where, you know, the city would not cover that for you.
So how long has this been in effect? The reason why I'm asking about, I'm gonna say less than 10 years ago on the city market, I had, I guess you would call it an event, where I was selling not art, not painted art, but at one time I was decorating and painting mannequin heads, and I had a showing there, and none of this ever came up, so I'm confused as to how long has it been into effect.
Was it a showing for the city of Roanoke, or did you have a booth at the city market?
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yes,
Yeah.
I had a booth.
Yeah.
So you're not required for something like that. It's not required.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. Miss Jane?
This is kind of off topic, but kind of on topic too. I'm a musician and I have performed for the city for different events. But now that I'm saying that, like Phyllis, I'm going, wait a minute, that's really Festival in the Park. But I was curious how come nobody's ever asked me to get any kind of insurance for those type of events as a musician. And I just wondered what the difference would be, or if the city does require that specifically.
The promoter,
the city definitely requires
the
it.
promoter is for Festival in the Park, takes care of that for the artist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And
Jay,
on the event.
What do you perform? I'm sorry, this is off the subject.
I'm sorry. Huh? What was your question again?
No, I said it was off the subject, but Jay said that she's a performing artist. I'm saying, where do you perform?
Oh, like a musician?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And different festivals that the city is hosting downtown.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna look out for your name then. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
and
sorry.
you're often under a Radar Rose.
Yep, you can find
Radar Rose.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Radar Rose. Wow. Okay. Interesting name.
Hey, we're on iTunes.
So an artist can be like a business where they have ongoing insurance and then just show a certificate of their insurance for a specific project, right?
Right. It just depends on how many pieces they have. You know, a lot of artists have a lot of expensive art. And so they insure their art anyway. Okay. So, yeah.
And we had, when we were just
depending on where they're working from, you know, especially if they're working out of their home, some of that art can probably be covered by their homeowner's insurance as well.
Never thought about that.
Well, we just had artists working on the Arches project, and one got insurance for the project, and then the other one, it turned out through his agent, they said, well, he decided to go ahead and get insurance for himself as a business, and to keep that insurance and then have it for the next thing, and he penciled it out. It seemed to work better for him.
Okay.
And and that's one less barrier for responding to one of these, because it can feel like a lot if you have, every time you do the thing for the first time, it can feel a little overwhelming.
Right. Right. And there have been instances where the city has just assumed the risk on behalf of the artist, depending on the project. There are some artists that just can't afford to have ongoing insurance. Sometimes they can't afford even to pay the premium for event insurance. So it's just a management decision on a case-by-case basis whether the city assumes that risk or not, especially if the city is promoting that event, and it's a city event and they want the artist to participate. So, okay.
So an example for that,
I'm fine.
an example for that might be the whether I guess there's nothing really to insure with the stormwater project. So the artists have to have health insurance because they're going to be out painting, and they make sure they do it very.
You're talking about
the inlet?
Yeah.
Inlets, yeah.
Yeah, because that was a city project in which they kind of commissioned artists to come in and paint those inlets. And so the city assumed the risk of liability for them. We put things in place to make sure that they were safe while they were working. But we did ask that they have their own health insurance, just in case, something happened. Okay.
This is so interesting. You wouldn't think you need all that stuff.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
look, Ms. Clewis, okay, if you display your art in a restaurant anywhere, who assumes responsibility?
Well, we're only talking about you displaying your art on city property.
On city property.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the restaurant would be in the city.
But it's not city property. Those are privately
Correct.
owned.
Okay, okay, I got it. Got it. I'm
That
in there.
would be between you and your restaurant owner, how you would want to, go about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, gotcha. I'm learning.
That's okay. We learn something all the time.
Oh yeah, always.
Absolutely.
That's what makes life fun and interesting.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jackie, how like cities and towns throughout Virginia, are most of them self-insured? How does that work across the board?
Well, not most of them. The self-insurance groups are pretty much a dying breed. There's a few of us still hanging on. The purpose of the self-insurance is to manage our own insurance programs and claims and to reduce the cost and not be a burden on the city's finances, because to fully insure all of your programs is very expensive. As anyone that has dealt with insurance knows, whether it's auto, home insurance, or what, it can be very expensive. And premiums, they just, they go up and down, depending on the market, depending on the number of claims we have, depending on how many accidents we may have with vehicles. There are so many variables that insurance companies use to determine a premium. We do purchase excess insurance to cover us. And right now, with all of the insurance that we do purchase, because there are some that we do have to purchase, like our property insurance, and we're paying almost $1 million just for that part alone. Annually. So if we had to purchase, liability insurance, if we had to pay, auto insurance, that could easily be anywhere from $5 to $6 million in premiums every year. Yes, ma'am.
That's very costly.
It's very costly.
Whoa. And
Yeah.
I'm hollering about my insurance. I think I better shut up.
Yeah, so to answer your question, Douglas, I know probably about 4 or 5 cities, some of the major cities that are self-insured. Most of the counties are fully insured, but no, it's not a lot of the cities in the state that are fully insured. It's a lot of us still self-insured, trying to manage our finances. So yeah.
That's a lot to manage and a lot to know about.
Right.
No doubt.
Mhm.
Any other questions on contracting with the city, what to expect, or insurance?
No. Okay.
And we're gonna keep exploring ways to, share information, make it as easy as possible. And I know, and one question that comes to us often is, well, who do I go to for insurance? And we can't really recommend an agent necessarily. We can bring artists together and they can talk about what agents they use.
Right.
And I know that there were some, I've heard back recently from folks who like worked with long-term agents, some new, somebody came back and said, my agent said, send all the artists my way. I'm happy to insure them. So yeah, so there's some folks out there who know.
Yeah, we don't recommend insurance agents, but we do on the risk management website, we do have information about event insurance in case you have an event and have to have event insurance coverage. So there is a website there that if you enter that information, they can quote you a premium for event insurance.
And it's a really easy system to use.
It is. Mm-hmm.
So for the neighborhood associations, if they're going to do an event, close the street down, do an event, they need to buy insurance. They need to buy insurance through that system or in some way for the event.
Well, I do the assembly permits kind of the same way I do with contracting. I go in and look at the application and see what the event is, how many people are going to attend, where it's going to be, kind of what the city's liabilities would be, and then I make a decision as to whether they need their own general liability insurance or if they need to purchase event insurance. So.
So kind of case by case.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this: is a block party considered an event that has to be insured?
It's considered an event that you have to have an assembly permit for. So normally when I look at block parties, I'm looking at, it's usually just a person, like one of the neighbors, that they want to shut the street down and have a block party. We usually don't require them to have insurance for block parties.
Okay.
Yeah, but if it's an organization and they want to do a block party and we know that they have insurance coverage, then we require insurance coverage for it.
So what's to protect the people there? Nothing?
Well, you know, the city comes out and they shut the streets down. It's like any event you're attending at your own risk if you choose to attend the block party.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, most of the neighbors know each other, and that's why they do the block parties, kind of to get to know each other.
Right.
So yeah, we haven't had problems with block parties that I'm aware of.
Okay.
And the police have to.
I'm just always being curious.
So if there's been problems with block parties in that area that they're asking the city to shut the street down to have a block party, if the police is aware of it, usually they're going to say, no, we're not doing that. We're not allowing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting
It's
to
a lot
know.
of people involved in approving those assembly permits, a lot.
Gotcha. Okay. Learning a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
So
You got to do the.
go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Jane. Go ahead, Jane.
I actually carry event insurance as a face painter and henna artist, just to protect myself. And it's like no deal at all to just send them an email and go, add City of Roanoke this week at this event as additional insured, and they just shoot you out a little ticket that you can give to whoever's putting on the event. But I'm looking at this thing and it says things not eligible under this program, and it says art exhibits over 10 feet tall or occupying more than 100 square feet. So
Yeah.
is that common?
I don't know. I don't really get down into what's covered and what's not covered in the insurance. That's something that, you know, you would have to talk to the insurance companies about. Usually they will tell you what's not covered. Sometimes they don't. Then, you know, they just issue the policy and you're responsible to know what's covered and what's not covered, you know.
Got it.
That's why it's very important when you're talking to them about your event and what you want covered and your pieces, you tell them exactly what it is, you know, the measurements, the value, everything, you know.
Wow.
That's gonna determine your premium payment as well. Because if they gotta replace that piece, you know, it could be costly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for our temporary exhibit then that we're going to replace the Elmwood Art, those are ones that we have on loan for 2 years. And do we require that they have insurance, or we just tell them they're not insured through us?
If I recall, I think the pieces that we have assumed liability for, because it's in our custody and care, then we're responsible for them. But I would have to look at the way that the agreement or contract is set up when it's on loan.
Yeah, I was thinking we kind of put it on them and said, if you want to insure it, you're going to have to insure it. We're not responsible for it while it's here. But that's for the piece itself. But then, like, liability wise, because some of these pieces are tall and there's a risk. You got to withstand a wind. Such.
But that's something that you address in the agreement as well, is who's maintaining it, who's responsible to maintain it, who's responsible if something happens to it. You know,
yeah, generally all of those things are negotiated at the agreement.
Right.
We try to say not it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
all the art around the city is not city owned?
So some of it is, and we've gone through some pieces, like we talked about the Trojan dog, which started as a temporary piece that we had on loan, and then we worked with the artist and manufactured it, and now it is owned by the city, and it's more permanent. But we will do these temporary projects on loan just to find out what people like, try things on. Yeah, so that's what we're gearing up for again this spring. Yeah.
So if it's all on and the people like it and the city likes it, do you then purchase it?
We have in the past. We have purchased 5 pieces from the past 5 temporary exhibitions. This will be our 6th one, and sometimes we've had partnerships where Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge helped pay for one of them. The Downtown Roanoke Incorporated helped pay for one of them. The Raleigh Court Neighborhood Association helped pay for one of them. We had one piece that was just given to the city because it's not going to last forever. It's called Roanoke, and it's a wooden sculpture, and it's on the Greenway in Vic Thomas Park. And so that was just, you know what, we might have to take it back. We have 2. We have 2 in Vic Thomas Park that were given to us. One of them is the decommissioned lamppost, and it looks like a teepee. It's really striking there, and it's large. But it was too big for them to come pick up again. They're like, well, you can.
Where's Vic Thomas? I've never heard of these parks.
Well, Vic, you were right there close to Vic Thomas Park. Let's see, Wiley Drive, where it crosses the river. So you know where Memorial Bridge is, and Black Dog Salvage.
Right
there, Memorial Bridge and Black Dog Salvage is Vic Thomas Park, and we have a little sculpture garden there. That was
the other day.
Ann Davies.
Stop looking for.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's really pretty. The wildflowers are grown up, and they've got little spaces carved out of the wildflowers that have sculpture in them. And so take a look next time you're there.
Well, forget about the tour that I talked about last week. You said you may try to figure that out sometime in the future, a tour for anyone that wants to go, because I have no idea where these places are.
We are. We're gonna
Okay.
right after when the weather gets good again. But
Oh, I know.
yeah, we'll set up a tour.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Other questions? I want to thank everybody for being part of this tonight. Especially want to thank Jackie and Toni for taking the time and for all you do to help.
You're welcome.
All you do to support a lively art scene in Roanoke.
Glad to help.
No problem. Anytime.
Thank you.